So Toy Story 1, when Buzz tries to fly and his arm falls off, right? Mm-hmm. And then Woody's all frustrated trying to go across the window, right, to the, do you know what I'm talking about?
I got you.
He like goes to the, and he's like, whatever, and then he gets frustrated and Buzz is like all depressed, like the whole thing, whatever. He's like, Buzz, will you give me a hand? And he throws the arm. Mm-hmm. My son at 2.5, reportedly from my wife, said he laughed a lot at that one.
It's in the genes.
Hopefully.
We have a big problem. We're both Jewish, obviously, and I can only speak for myself.
Yes.
The extent of my Jewish comedy knowledge is, like you were just saying, Larry David. Okay, I know the name. I know Curb Your Enthusiasm. Jerry Seinfeld. I know he had a show, or has a show that's still running, called Seinfeld. And that's about it.
Still running.
Is it not still running? It's playing. I'm saying, like, they're not taping it, obviously.
We gotta do a whole history of TV syndication and what all that means. Guys, there was a thing called television before the internet. Things were on TV.
I had TiVo. I know television.
You had TiVo?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. So back in the day, you couldn't just watch. I'm going to do my old man. In my day, we used to have to call the internet and we had to not disconnect, and it wasn't so easy to download music just to find out it was a virus.
That's just Bernie Sanders.
Or just any old man, yeah. But that's how I feel talking to some 20-something-year-olds. Not just 20-something-year-olds.
I grew up taking downloading music, putting it on an MP3 player. Like, that was normal. Like,
what about CD?
CDs, yeah. Like
tapes?
Yeah. Tapes, actually, yeah, a little bit.
We had tapes.
Yeah, we had tapes.
But so that, I think, is Jewishness. Of like, because whatever culture is, Jewish is like...
Why is there a fly in the room?
Huh? It's the Sahara. It's the Jewishness. Whatever culture is, Jewishness is like 10 years behind. I made a joke when TSA just got rid of the policy that you used to have to like take off your shoes right at the air flying.
Yeah. And
they like just last week or 2 weeks ago they just got rid of.
That's huge.
The fact that you don't have to take off your shoes, but it took 22 years, and I was like, well, this is yeshiva level. Like pacing of all right, everybody. It's like yeshiva's addressing there's a problem with smartphones, and you're like, you are way behind. Like I want like rabbis to get ahead of like 3D printing, which already they're probably behind, but like get on like robots.
Meanwhile, everyone has the meta glasses in yeshiva.
Right. I'm saying, but like, just the level. So Jewish culture is far behind.
I mean, we're still going to be reading books in like 20 years.
Correct. No, and there are products. I think there are products that are just built in that are anti-Semitic that people don't realize, like hotel room electronic keys.
Right.
Like they're like,
yeah, automatic water, like the water faucet,
lights in your fridge,
the urinals that flush for you.
Yes, exactly. There's so many issues that I feel like hotels and like are like great. The hospitality industry is like, we did so good. We're going green. It's great. We don't need any more paper towels. We don't need physical keys. And then Orthodox Jews are like, excuse me, could you get rid of all of this on what we're having a Shabbaton?
It's really anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. If you live in like a neighborhood that's mostly Jewish, and they have the automatic light on their porch, and they know people are walking past.
Yeah.
So
I heard that you're allowed to walk through there though, even because you can't like.
I do it anyways.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
That's what the fly's here for.
But back to the Jewish history, Jewish comedy history. What should we know? If you were structuring a crash course,
oh boy,
what would you teach us?
Well, Seinfeld is no longer on the air. That's number one.
What do you mean by not on the air?
There was so again, I'm going to go back to the history of television, and that basically there were. Before you watched anything on streaming services or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, TikTok, there are channels, and there's actual, like, you heard like Stephen Colbert is getting canceled off CBS, right? That means that the network that he was on is no longer going to have his show on. So Seinfeld was on a network called NBC.
Okay.
You've seen them on Sunday Night Football.
Yes. And what time did it air? Do you remember?
I was like 9 when it went off the air because it was also reruns. So that's, hold on, we're going to go over the whole thing here, guys. But basically, it was on from like 89 to like 98. Thursdays at whatever, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, depending on where you lived, for half an hour. And you either had to tape it with a VCR, which is another piece of old school technology. You had to like tape it when it was on pre-TiVo or watch it live. And then they would start doing like other channels like Fox or whatever would show reruns at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock during dinner time So like not new episodes you'd be able to catch up on and watch. And that's why how every single person has seen The Office or Seinfeld or The Simpsons. Because at least in my day, that was Seinfeld, The Simpsons, a show called Home Improvement. So again,
I watched it, by the way, because it's on Netflix.
What show?
Home Improvement.
Yes.
Terrible. I gave it a good try.
Well, what's what the repetitiveness of like every time he like asks the neighbor for advice.
I only watched 2 episodes, and I see that there's like a bit. I see there's a structure here. I saw the one with the dishwasher that he makes it super powerful and just explodes the whole house. I'm like,
that is every episode.
I'm like, for what? Like, what is happening here? This is not meant for me.
Were you a Simpsons person?
No.
Okay, you should. I if you have Disney Plus, do some Khazara seasons, probably 2 through 9 of The Simpsons.
Okay.
Of The Simpsons, because you'll see they're like making fun of. They have a thing where they're watching Home Improvement and they're like, I'm gonna give it more power, and then he drives through and they just like make fun of this stuff.
There's a meme I saw of the couple at the Coldplay concert where they're like, Simpsons, it predicts everything.
Yeah.
So it was AI, but it was funny because remember when COVID came out and they said that like they predicted this. And then
but they really did Trump being
Trump
president.
gets elected. They're like, we predicted.
Oh, that
this.
was real.
Oh, it was real.
That's a real prediction. They said President Trump 15 years ago.
That's crazy.
So anyways,
they just have 1 million episodes. They're gonna predict something.
Yeah, they've been on. It's like 800 episodes, which is too many. Put it this way: it's as old as I am. The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
Also, my name is Eli Lebowicz, by the way. Because
yes, I forgot to say of all people that we should have for Jewish comedy history, the guy named Eli Lebowicz, like
the oldest man in the room.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, you're either a Jewish singer or just like a guy that goes to shul.
I think I once went to somebody's house for Shabbos, and for some reason, like I was there, and then somebody came. My friend's mom like introduced me to somebody they knew, and they're like, "This is Ellie Friedman." And I didn't want to really embarrass her. I kind of just went with it. And then at a certain point, I said I may change it to Lebowitz because Friedman's too Jewish. And yeah. So my name is Eli Lebowitz. I'm a comedian. Hey, Jewish comedian, and apparently historian of television.
Because a lot of comedians don't know Jewish comedy. It's a super niche part of comedy to be in.
Well, hold on. When you say Jewish comedy,
I thought all comedians were Jewish.
Right. It's a little bit of a thing like where you're like, there's a lot of overlap. And there wasn't like Jewish comedy, but like any like Mel Brooks movie.
Don't know who Mel Brooks was. But also just right now, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz, Jewish? No.
So what?
So I'm assuming that pattern just kind of continued throughout history.
So again,
not everyone was
going
Jewish.
with
you
the
didn't
history.
name the Jewish ones that everybody knows.
That's why I'm saying
that's what I'm saying.
Seinfeld, the comedian, and the person is still around.
Right, but he's not in the zeitgeist.
False. But not in your zeitgeist.
Not in my zeitgeist.
No, I'm saying I think there's you're right. Okay, there's up and comers. Up and comers. There's people that are like the new thing, Nate Bargatze and stuff like that. And yes, he's not Jewish. No, the reason for that, all these, I think the history of Jewish comedy, there was an overlap where Jews got into comedy. It just became like an entertainment. I mean, that's also why Jews got into Hollywood. Like the anti-Semitic conspiracy theory of like Jews run Hollywood. It's more that Jews invented Hollywood because Jews weren't allowed to be in like the same reason why Jews got into like banking. You weren't allowed to do other jobs. So Jews created this thing called Hollywood, and a lot of a good portion of them were Jewish, and then so that's the same thing. So a lot of people, but the reason I think so many
Jews actually made it. Like it's not just like a statement that people say.
I don't know. Like I think the Warner Brothers, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MGM.
Oh, those are all Jews.
Goldwyn Mayer. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I would assume. I assume a lot of people are Jewish. They just either change their names.
Brothers are Jewish.
I think so, but I'm not positive on that. But again, a lot
if
of
they
these,
were the Werner brothers with an E, maybe.
Isn't that Pesach? There's like a Pesach program.
I don't know.
But yeah, so a lot of Jews got into this stuff. I did not know this was going to be a TED Talk of, guys, here we go. We're going to start with why home improvement is redeeming.
DJ just wants to learn something. And like
we're going to do this at 2x speed.
4x.
4x.
Go,
Make
go.
sure. It's Ben Shapiro, super fast speaking.
I just heard that on your Juice Schmooze.
Oh yeah,
where you said something about the Ben Shapiro 4 times speed.
nice.
Because she was saying she was listening to something, whatever. Yeah.
No, it's fine. We were saying how off air, if we want to learn something, I could do 1.5, but I guess you're younger than me, so you could do 2x. My brain can't work that fast.
I'm not hearing all the words. I'm just getting the main.
Well, you're like,
idea.
I only watched 2 episodes of Home Improvement. That was enough for me.
Yeah,
there are so many shows that I could, tune you into.
I feel like as a person my age, you just need to learn how to make a lot of assumptions.
Or give things a chance. Why do you have to make a lot of assumptions?
I don't know. He's just like, I don't have a good answer. I don't know.
Well, it's a big world and we have so little knowledge. So to not be paralyzed by indecision, it's kind of just like, well, we'll assume we have any clue what's going to happen and then just go based on that.
Also, you need to have an opinion on everything. So
well, that's the toughest thing about now, right? Is that like, I think I forgot which comedian says this, that like little kids are like they're not happy anymore because it's like, what do you think of Trump? And they're like, why does a 10-year-old care? Or you think like a 10-year-old had opinions about Reagan, like back then as president back then.
I did. I knew he liked jelly beans. Mm-hmm.
See, there you go. So your pop culture knowledge is very all over the place.
I don't know anything pop culture.
You just knew about jelly beans with Reagan.
Oh, that was because of like a school assignment in like 4th grade.
Okay, but like whatever. I wouldn't expect to be like, I saw a Home Improvement and 2 episodes, and I know about Reagan, but Ronald Reagan and jelly beans. He had this whole thing during his campaign thing about not liking jelly beans. What was it?
No, he always had jelly beans.
That's what it was. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
See, even my day,
always had jelly beans on his desk.
He was before my time. So the reason I think Jews got into comedy, because of, again, the same thing of like, when you're oppressed and you're coming, they are always immigrants coming from a different country because every country kicked us out eventually.
So this is in the 40s?
I think in the Borch Belt, which is like the Catskills, whatever, that's they call it the Borch Belt. That's where they're going upstate to like all these like different, where let's say Jews go to the Hamptons or whatever, go to summer camp now, they went upstate to like the Catskills. So there's all these different hotels that they would go for the summer, and then they needed entertainment, so people would go. And this is like probably like the 54.
And it was Russians? That's why it's called 50s. The Borch Belt? I just assumed the Borch Belt was in Russia.
No. I never heard of this, by the way. I'm just listening.
Okay. This is going to be, we're going to have a whole glossary of terms.
I know, right?
It's like when I go into Jewish stuff at non-Jews and be like, guys, there's this thing called the Torah, and the Talmud is not what Candace Owens says it is. But basically, it's called the Borch Belt. I don't exactly know why. I guess it's like they had borscht and whatever, but like it's just a term. It's just that like a lot of people were either first generation Americans or second or even not even or not Native American, not American born necessarily. So they went up. They were probably second generation Americans, to be honest. And they went and they were like, and they had like shows and they had like comedians and stuff like that. So like Mel Brooks, who is a 99-year-old director,
alive now,
still alive, Kanai Nahara. He is coming out with Spaceballs 2, so you should catch up on Mel Brooks. And Mel Brooks, I would say, is a lot of his like comedy. It's like, there's like a thing is like, is comedy inherently Jewish? In a way, it kind of is. I mean, in a way of, I don't know. There's just a certain sense of humor. I think that
it was promised us 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, I would say that like sarcasm is a real Lashon HaKodesh. You know what I mean? Like there is a certain, I think there's a certain wit that Jews have, and part of that though is, I think, as a defense mechanism, is that if like terrible stuff is happening, all right, let's make a joke about it. Like it's therapeutic. It really helps. I mean, that's why a lot of good comedians are Jewish or black, because not Shane Gillis and Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan. They haven't really gone through anything, but I'm saying you're Chris Rock's, Dave Chappelle's, Seinfeld, Mel Brooks, Richard Pryor. If you've actually gone, you can't really have a great sense of humor if life's been amazing the whole time.
And there's this heightened need for constant analysis also, to be able to wiggle around situations.
Yeah, learning Gemara and just being like, well, can you do this on Shabbos? Maybe. And then you think of scenarios and you think of, it's very much like, it makes sense why Jews become lawyers and comedians and things like that. It's just, I'm not saying that like people that aren't Jewish don't have that, but I'm saying we're taught about education very early on and very much like to think in a different kind of way and look at the world. And it also, like comedians, you're looking at the world and be like, what's wrong with this? And that's what Jews are doing, because we're like, how do we make sense of this crazy world that just has gone nuts?
Okay, so we're in Hollywood in the 1900s somewhere.
Yeah, I think they just had early 1900s, like for when I don't know when Hollywood actually started, maybe in the 20s. I don't know.
And then who are the big players? The OGs
of what?
Of Jewish Hollywood comedy.
Those are different things though, because Hollywood's like more movies.
Okay.
So like I'm saying, you have like silent movies and things like that, and then you have like Charlie Chaplin and this guy Buster Keaton. He's like, I'm so bored right now. Can we just 2x?
I'm just waiting for Howie Mandel. I'm waiting for his name to show up.
I think he was a
what did he do? Why did he get famous?
He was a comedian.
But like, was he funny?
Yeah, but it was also a different kind of style. It was like more like wacky. Okay. I would call alternative-ish, the same way that like Zach Galifianakis, who like everybody from The Hangover.
Between Two Ferns.
Oh, that guy.
Between Two Ferns guy. Anyone you've seen like on a TV show, whatever, probably was a stand-up at some point. Not necessarily like, or the main Tim Allen, the guy from Home Improvement, stand-up comedian. Ray Romano, Everybody Loves Raymond, stand-up comedian. Jerry Seinfeld, stand-up comedian. So a lot of people who built a show around you, it's because they did they were comedians. So, and anybody you've seen with a TV show means that they probably were doing it for 15 years before they even became a TV show, on a TV show.
I feel like stand-up comedy is a lot different now than what I assume. Is it different? Because like we have right now, like Kill Tony.
Yes.
I feel like that's a different era of stand-up comedy. Where you see how bad it is most of the time.
Well, Kill Tony is a weird example of it. I mean, I understand it's a big thing now, but Kill Tony is like, it feels like an open mic where people are just like, they put their name in the bucket, whatever. And some people are clearly good, and some people are like, and a lot of them are like just terrible. And it's like, it's almost like the show is designed to like just make fun of the bad people. Like early American Idol auditions, sometimes they would just have bad ones just to like make the show not amazing singers the entire time.
It is fun though.
Yeah,
it's like he sucks. Like,
but I think the entire show. Like, I don't know, there should be more to it than that. I think like Adam Ray doing Dr. Phil is so much more interesting and funny than like being like, hey, you're terrible. And like, clearly us four are going to roast you right now. I mean, yeah, that's what you sign up for, but I don't know. That's not, I wouldn't call that's like in the 80s there was the comedy boom and like they had comedy clubs everywhere. And there were like TV shows that showcased comedy on actual television of like HBO and stuff like that. So Rodney Dangerfield is a big name that you should know. Rodney Dangerfield. Real name.
What should I know?
Real name is Jacob Cohen.
Really?
He is probably your style of comedy because it's like a Mark Normand style where it's like joke.
I like more like Casey Rocket, if you know that guy.
I don't know. I know he's a Kill Tony guy, but
like,
I don't.
Just crazy, wacky, hysterical.
You like weird stuff with a weird.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's just like, why is this happening? Like
Eric,
you like
Eric
Tim
Robinson? Like Tim Robinson and like.
I know who he is.
Tim Robinson's the guy from This Is Where I Leave You. I Think You Should Leave. Wait, no, sorry, hold on. No, because there's a book called This Is Where I Leave You, which is a book about a guy wrote about his family sitting Shiva as a novel that I read recently, and then this I Think You Should Leave. That's the Tim Robinson show, right?
I have no idea.
I Think You Should Leave. Come on, the whole thing with the zip line and the guy who's the hot dog guy in the hot dog, the meme.
My pop culture ends at the jelly beans.
Guys, we're gonna have to do many parts of this podcast to get
like those games where you have to like do the pop culture and guessing stuff. I know
Trivial Pursuit.
I know 1 out of 20 cards. I'm very uneducated.
As evident from the fact that you don't know the name of the game. No, listen, I have also like it's you are in a different generation than me because you grew up with the internet, and I'm just like, I have the internet too, but in 6th grade I had AOL, and the coolest thing was like messaging girls that you liked, and that's it. And like AIM is called. And again, you guys are like, what? We've heard of these things, but like it's might as well be saying we had the telegram machine, and phones were not as evident. So it's a different time. Yeah, you're. And I get it. You pick up things all from whatever, and there's nobody like sitting you down and be like, hey, here's what you should know. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's like a big thing, right?
I mean, ChatGPT
says, here's what you should know.
You're like, tell me things I should know.
Yeah, but it's also like a robot. And it's like, but that's like dangerous because like ChatGPT, here's what you should know. And it's like, Israel is the worst. And you're like, what? That's not what I signed up for.
That's funny.
Like things are just like, you're going to get opinions. And that's really hard because back in the day, you didn't necessarily had cold hard facts, but everything is so editorialized. So that's why it's like, I think a lot of people are, just to jump topics for a second, people are so anti-Israel or because they're getting a side of something without even hearing. No, they don't realize they're getting an editorial, and they're not getting an actual necessarily a fact. They're getting an opinion.
Was media always facts?
No, but it wasn't as like journalists now. It's all about like, hey, we're doing what's good for, it's like almost like, it's like the DEI push, for example. It's like movies will be like, hey, this movie, is it good? I don't know, but there's like a minority representation in it.
I don't mind the DEI. Like
I don't mind it. I don't mind it from an equal playing field, but like if that's your merit, if all things are equal and that's your merit, that shouldn't win over, because it's like there's a great movie called 12 Angry Men. It's black and white from probably like late 50s or early 60s.
I've seen it in like English class.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's 12. It's 12 men and white guys in a room in a jury box, because that's how it was then. And I guess I said now you'd call it, the Jewish version is 12 Angry Jews. It's just a kiddish, people waiting for
not enough
kiddish.
Herring.
Yeah, exactly. Just waiting for davening to end. But like, I'm not saying I'm not against that. I just think that again, when you think you're getting a fact, or you're getting someone's opinion and it's presented as fact, that's bad.
The whole concept of an editorial doesn't really exist in our generation at all. It's especially with the far right saying it's facts against your feelings, and then the left just being like, well, here's our facts, and everything is fact or fiction, and there's no sense of context. It's really just, is this thing that I just said true? Like with Gaza, did this many babies die? And we don't have to say the context around it, why it happened.
It escalated quickly from home improvement, but yeah.
How many Israelis died? We don't have to say that. It's just, is this true or not? This many babies died.
So there's an interesting thing that Matthew Berry, who's like
and like fact checkers, like on Candace Owens' podcast, she has like fact checkers.
But it's also like, hey, Al Jazeera said this. Oh, do you want to go into the history of what Al Jazeera is? Basically, the Qatari news media. If the Qatar who pays for Hamas is the one, is the owner of Al Jazeera, is that a reliable news source?
But I think most people's innate response to that would just be, is it true or is it not true? I don't care who's giving it to me. Is it a fact or not?
Right.
Like, we have a picture. Done.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, but there's so Matthew Berry, who is like the fantasy football guru. He has a whole column that he presents before the draft or something. He says, I can make facts tell you anything I want. So he says, I'm going to have player A and player B and give you anonymous just stats and tell you who it is and say, this player did this and this player did this. Who would you pick? And then it's always one player is so surprising that like a guy who's like average or not good is with the amazing stats. And then the guy, but he's like, I can pick what facts I want stats to show you. And that's exactly what's happening, that you're just not realize you're doing it. Meaning the Daily Show, which is like a lot of what my generation grew up with, where watching Jon Stewart on the Daily Show presenting the news in a humorous way, you're getting a slant, but you just don't realize it. I think that people realized it, but like you don't realize how much that's informing your thing. Like I was thinking, like I said, no matter what Israel does with Hamas. Even if you get rid of Hamas, Israel's already lost this war because everybody hates Israel now, or feels like it. Everybody
Did you
does.
see Bibi Netanyahu went on the Nelk Boys podcast?
Oh yeah,
I still
And-
haven't seen it.
and
Massive news.
how was it?
So I didn't even listen to it. I saw some clips from it. But what was interesting is they did a whole streamer press tour after, going on all the different streams being like, so what do you guys think? We hate you. What do you guys think? We hate you. And it was just so well planned by them that they knew how much everyone would hate it. And they didn't just have streamers reacting to them. They went on their streams to get the extra press. And it was so smart. But the actual thing from what I saw, Kyle Forgard from Nelk, he's the one that hosted it. He said it was like they walk in and there are 12 men in black suits surrounding them as they're asking him questions. Then you just have all these softballs, and it's BB giving his like press.
Well, I've kind of said
release.
I've started working on a joke where I say in my stand-up that like, and this is a couple months ago, where I was like, at this point, Netanyahu feels like he's like a dad who's lost driving on a road trip, but he's too stubborn to pull over and ask for directions. And you're just like, can you just let someone else drive? He's like, you want your mom driving? She can't see at night and she's so liberal. So like that, I think is because that's how I feel. And I'm not like, I don't know what your super Kahanas people are going to yell at me, but like, I just feel like I'm like, this feels very aimless of what's going on right now. And that just everyone's just like hating Israel more. We see, soldiers getting killed and whatever. And I don't know what the solution is, but I'm just, Netanyahu is just like, well, no one else can be in charge. You're like, Dad, you don't know what you're doing right now.
I just saw him with hair for the first time. I was
Netanyahu.
scrolling on TikTok.
He has,
And
He has hair, no?
No, he does not have hair.
Oh.
He has
well, he can't,
has
he can't
a great comb over.
Well, you can't go to Turkey, so he's not allowed in Turkey. So
That would do it. But he used to have like a full head of black hair when he was in the Knesset,
yeah, he's 70.
which I just never saw before.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, he's a real person because
Again,
now we only have the caricature.
I like
Now that he has hair, he's a real
whatever.
person.
There's Netanyahu 3. This is his third time as prime minister. I like Netanyahu 1 and Netanyahu 2. Netanyahu 3, I'm not the biggest fan of because he just wants to stay in power.
So you think it's like the Putin where he has the body doubles? This is
Oh no.
the third body
I
double,
think
third iteration?
the ones running everything is LL because they are
They
every
sold
every
it.
every
who else
other
gains from this?
every other
Yeah.
airline is canceling every 2 seconds, and LL's like, I guess we'll fly. Here's $1 million.
You got to get the Hollywood and comedians.
Yeah.
Move them all to Israel, and they'll love it.
The-
They loved Hollywood.
What?
Move Hollywood there.
Move Hollywood there. The problem, well, that's here. So here's what happens though with Hollywood and like a
Get
lot
more
of
Schtitzels
Jewish
and-
comedians.
and-
Yeah, it's
and
just
Faudas.
this is great. I mean, the problem with Hollywood and Jewish like comedians and there's this. You know what white guilt is? That there's like this like
Yeah.
inherent like thing where Jews feel guilty about what Jewish guilt is supposed to be about. You're not married yet? Oh my gosh, from your parents. So like, really, you're gonna wear that? You're eating a little too much? Like that's what Jewish guilt is supposed to be. But Jewish guilt now is so many of these. They're called we call them as a Jews. The people who say as a Jew, I order bagels. I get bagels every Sunday, and I have Fiddler on the Roof on DVD. What Israel is doing is terrible. I've never been there, but I've heard. And you don't like. Also, when you say what I don't understand is when people say as a Jew. Judaism and Israel have nothing to do with each other. Then why is your rant against Israel starting with as a Jew?
It's terrible that people are like self-appointing themselves as spokespeople for Judaism when they have like it's horrible.
I agree with you.
I was at a conference yesterday about like the future of American Jewry. And
As one does.
As one does.
It's the 200 conferences there's been since. Yeah.
And I could be misunderstanding the whole thing.
Yeah.
But their whole philosophy was that as an American who is Jewish, like that you're being in America, you should be proud to be American.
Let's see. Are you an American Jew or Jewish American? Which one's first?
Well, I think it's the American. If you want to appeal to other Americans and speak to other Americans, you need to be American.
Yeah, but you're going to get these right-wing America First people who are nuts, who are just like, why are we paying for Israel? Like, I tweeted something. Somebody wrote, "Why is it always Judeo-Christian and not Christian?" I said the same reason you don't start with Godfather Part 2. You know, like there are these. You're not gonna please. That's the thing. Is that
Godfather was too much eating. I watched like the first 30 minutes of it, and they're just like eating outside. Right? Is that the right movie? And I'm like, what is going on?
They're Italian. They're probably eating.
And I'm like, I'm waiting for like someone to get killed, and it just didn't happen. It's like another 2.5 hours.
I want to see a podcast of you reviewing movies on Rotten Tomatoes, and every time it says Godfather, couldn't handle it. Too much eating.
I fell asleep.
Too much eating early on. I fell asleep.
My roommate in yeshiva was very into like movies and pop culture. He was in it.
Yeah.
Shout out Yitzi Warren.
Oh, good guy.
Yeah, you know? Yeah.
Funny guys.
So he had me watch Pulp Fiction. I fell asleep, dude. I fell asleep like within like 20 minutes.
Pulp Fiction's tough because it's purposely disjointed all over the place but you're tricky because you say to me you don't like the traditional sitcom.
I like Casino. Casino was really good. That changed my life a little bit.
Changed your life.
Yeah. I'm like,
you're going to Vegas doing tons of cocaine. Yeah.
I'm like, this is a good movie. This is like, you know, they made good movies back then. And then I tried watching Heat.
Yeah.
Terrible. Dude,
I want to know like your top 10 rankings. It's like, it's going to be like Casino, Happy Feet. Like
I loved Happy Feet. Dude, I wanted to watch it in theaters, but
Listen.
I missed it. So then I had to wait to watch it like when it wasn't in theaters. And I was
like, when is Happy Feet?
Exactly. Dude, that penguin just there's a place in my heart that just loves penguins. Like,
and the song from Queen.
Like I remember
somebody to love.
I was too old for stuffed animals, but I like loved penguins. I needed one. So when Club Penguin, that was good.
I'm not familiar.
That was really good. But I remember when Build-A-Bear had penguins. Like I needed one.
His favorite movies are going to be Happy Feet, Club Penguin, March of the Penguins.
Penguins of Madagascar. Dude, if you love penguins, there's so much made for you in the world.
Sudden Death is a hockey movie where the Blackhawks play the Penguins in the Stanley Cup, and there's a bomb in there.
No, but there's bad penguins too, like Batman's penguin, bad penguin.
Welcome back to Bad Penguins.
He's just like, what happened to this podcast about the history of
yes, back to Seinfeld. What makes Jerry Seinfeld so great?
Great writing and relatability.
Aside from Seinfeld, did he do anything?
Well, he was a stand-up comedian for like a formative stand-up comedian. Oh.
No way your glasses bend that much.
No, yeah, I was like, I broke something there. He was so Jerry Seinfeld was a touring stand-up comedian for like 15 years or something, or 10 to 15 years, going around the country, and then he would occasionally be on. So back in the day, there was 3 main networks of NBC, CBS, and ABC, and then Fox kind of joined at the end of the 80s or so. I just read a book about The Simpsons and the influence The Simpsons had in the 90s called Stupid TV, Be More Funny, which is a Simpsons quote. One day when we do Chazara of The Simpsons, we'll talk. So anyways, the main show that people watched at night, nobody watches late night shows anymore. Like occasionally you'll watch Fallon if he had like a gamer on, or Hot Ones.
Which is why Colbert got canceled.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless it was just Trump.
It's probably some combination of both. But point is that people watched Johnny Carson for many, many years on NBC, and he was on for
not Jewish,
very much not Jewish. It's still funny, but he was the host for like 30 something years of the Tonight Show till like 60 something till 62 to like 92, and then Jay Leno took over after him, and then Conan for 2 minutes, and then Jimmy Fallon. That's pretty much where you're at. And there's a Tonight Show before that. But basically, Johnny Carson would have a comedian on the show for like once a bunch of times. So that became, and again, everybody is, there wasn't a million streaming platforms. Everyone's watching Johnny Carson right now. And if you were on Johnny Carson, did 5 minutes and were funny, and he called you over and said like, good job or whatever, your career was made. It wasn't YouTube. You could go around the country and make a career doing it. So Jerry Seinfeld was on doing, I mean, that's not how he became famous, but he was on the Tonight Show 4 or 5 times a year or whatever, going around. And he says, it's amazing because the people working in television didn't have the chachma, he didn't say that, but to be like, hey, this guy's at NBC. We're NBC. We make TV shows. We should make a TV show with a stand-up comedian named Seinfeld and whatever. And then his manager, this guy George Shapiro, messaged the people at NBC, was like,
not Jewish.
Very. He messaged the people at NBC and said, hey, I have a feeling like Jerry Seinfeld's going to do a show with you. And then that started the ball rolling, and that became a thing. So Jerry Seinfeld was one of the biggest stand-ups in the country at the time anyway, and like going around, because again, there was this big comedic boom in the 80s of people, but like Jerry Seinfeld, this guy Gary Shandling, a lot of comedians, Roseanne, who you may not know who that is, whatever. She was a comedian, and then she's a comedian, and then she had a TV show called Roseanne, which is it was a big TV show in the 90s because it was all about like middle America and showing like the non-perfect, super hot wife and whatever and all that, like just like an average family who like can't pay their bills and stuff like that, which appeal to people. So that's how Seinfeld.
So it's very different from today, because a guy like, let's say, Theo Von is in a similar position, and now he has a podcast, which is kind of the new TV.
I'm saying I would say the Johnny Carson almost, I wouldn't say it's not like the Kill Tony, but you can get discovered on Kill Tony the same way that the virality of Kill Tony right now. Imagine like Johnny Carson, that everybody saw you. Everybody's watching this show.
And it's live. You're invested.
It's not live. Oh, Kill Tony. Kill Tony's live, yeah.
No, that show was
live.
When
it's live at the time when you're in front of the audience. I'm saying you're in front of an audience of 200 people. It's like, no, it's later that day or that whatever. But yes, it's live. So the barrier to entry was a lot different back then, and like you had a lot less options.
Who are the great, just culturally Jewish comedians these days? Are they at the top right now?
Jews? I don't know. I'm like trying to like check people's. I don't know. I think back in the day it was like, again, Jackie Mason. This guy Lenny Bruce was one of the biggest comedians because he was more like the first guy who like swore. Like he got arrested for swearing. That was the different time. And then that paved the way for like your George Carlins and Richard Pryor, both not Jewish. And then Jackie Mason was probably one of the biggest ones to make it as a like talk about. I mean, Lenny Bruce mentioned Judaism a bunch, but like Jackie Mason, really his whole act was Jews and non-Jews, and like, but he really went mainstream. People who weren't Jewish saw him, and he was on TV and all that stuff talking about Jews and non-Jews. And then Rodney Dangerfield, this guy Buddy Hackett. There's this guy Mort Saul, Milton Berle. There's a lot of names.
But what about now?
Now, who's still doing stand-up? I mean, Adam Sandler is, I guess, still back into doing it. Jewish.
Does he play at all?
So like, other than Modi and Elon Gold and me and Dovi Newberger and Ami and.
But they're talking to Jewish crowds for the most part, right?
Right. Are there people that are not? There are other people that are Jewish that are not. Am I like just blanking? I mean, there's people, I don't know, like because also like everybody's got different styles, but like, is there a Jewish comedian that's got the level of Sebastian Maniscalco and like Nate Bargatze? I don't know, Nikki Glazer's Jewish.
True.
Is she that big?
She's huge.
She's big, but like.
Come on. Did you see the Tom Brady roast?
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
I'm saying, and then she hosted the Emmys.
She did?
I know, but I see her in the news all the time.
She hosted the Emmys after that. Mark Norman's not Jewish, but
he likes Jews.
Mark Norman says he's like I was dating this girl and she broke up with me because I wasn't Jewish. I was like, come on, I'm a comedian. I have curly hair. I'm short. I'm in New York. Come on, I'm like this close. I'm circumcised. I'm this close. Yeah. Ari Shaffir.
He's good.
Who I know not. What's his bit?
He has a bunch of stuff.
Racist, he was, but now
only because of the show.
Now he does drugs.
I'm telling you.
So Ari Shaffir.
Your reviews of things. Your summarizing of things.
He used to be racist. Now he's doing
your home improvement thing was accurate. Was he tried to rebuild something and it broke? That is
not every assumption. That is good. Home improvement. I just have to have an opinion.
I have to have an opinion.
I need to.
That's Jewish hubris right there. I need to have an opinion.
I need to. I must.
Well, it was Ari Shaffir has had a bunch of special. Oh, sorry. Dave Attell is big. But again, Dave Attell, but he's older. Jeff Ross, There's this play on a show on Broadway coming out.
Ari Shaffir has this hysterical thing. He goes to like a Jewish grocery store, and like he drops pennies, but like in a really like it was tasteful then. I think it was funny then.
Ari Shaffir had a recent special called Jew or whatever a few years back.
He's a little different now though. He's a different person.
Yeah. Again, but he's also going to say something. He's like, I've never experienced anti-Semitism. You're like, you're not like.
He said that on the.
You're not like wearing a kippah.
Yeah.
Like,
does he look Jewish?
Yeah, but like.
Now he looks like a guy that could be homeless in Washington Heights.
Jessica Kirsten's really funny. She's a Jewish comedian.
Eric Andre
is, I think, Jewish, but not into Israel.
He's never been.
No, like he had to like get. Like clarify and say everyone was calling him out for stuff, and he's like, by the way, I'm against the genocide, and I say it in quotes because it's not actually a genocide.
Oh man!
So can you just fill us in on everything JSketch has done, is doing, and will be doing?
Oh man, that was
all of it.
The last two are gonna be tough. That's more than like, hey, let's go into the history of Jewish comedy. But so JSketch started this thing. I was 2023. I started doing comedy full time. I was working at different day jobs before that and started doing comedy full time. And then I was on either Ami's podcast or I was talking to him, and I was in touch with Mikey at one point, and I was in touch with Ami and separately. And I said we were talking about like writing comedy, just writing in general. Like I like to consider myself the comedy covery. So when I'm just like, I will like talk on the phone with other comedians and be like, help, like write some, help with bits, and it's really fun, and I always wanted to be like in a writer's room. So basically, I mentioned to Ami at some point of like this idea, and Mikey is, separately. I said that the idea of like wanting to put out stuff, content, and like, or not even put out content, but I just like I had an idea, and I'm like, I don't know how to, whatever. So my idea was, I said, what if Esther was Jewish? Esther's Jewish in the Purim story. And Mordechai says you can't tell anyone you're Jewish, but what if she's like Fran Drescher from like The Nanny and like the most over the top Jewish woman in the world? And I'm like, that's a funny idea for a sketch. And that was the brainchild of that thing. And then that was the first JSketch. I don't know if you've seen this for Purim of like,
no,
oh my gosh, you were in.
It's funny.
No, it is not.
I mean, no, if it was 2 years
crazy.
ago, you might be like, that was right at the beginning of my new career.
Okay.
Which it was in the beginning of the career.
No, it's
and you
okay.
might say it was bad.
It's what? No. The good thing about what we've done with JSketch, I think we've done like 25 of them.
Well,
something like that at this point. And shout out to Ami for really doing the slog of editing a ton and a lot of that and filming, and he really does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that to make as good a product as you see. Ami's doing a huge part of that. So I have to give him.
Does he have a team? Does he have anybody like? Because he puts out a podcast, he puts out a lot.
He
of
is.
content.
I think with the podcast he does, but he does a lot of. He's very, very multi-talented. Not just like defending Israel and impressions and stuff like that. He just like has a lot of talent, and I'm just like I can write jokes, and that's all I got. But I have other skills. I know TV,
which is kind of what a comedian is.
I know, but these days you have to be a comedian, a producer, a marketer, and all the things, and editor, and all that stuff. And it's hard to balance all those things because again,
well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But it's one of those I could always do better type of thing. Anyways, so that sketch is a really funny sketch of Ami playing the role of Achashverosh and Esther, and Mikey is Haman, and I'm Mordechai.
Classic Mikey.
What, Haman?
He would be a good Haman.
Yeah.
He probably was a good Haman. I
Yeah.
gotta watch this. Yeah.
So it's our first sketch is great. It's and again, so I'm saying in the 25 sketches we've done, I really think all of them have been funny. And like I wouldn't, like SNL is like, all right, they had one funny sketch on that whole 2-hour episode or 90-minute episode. Like no, I think all of them have been funny. Some have really resonated. Have you seen? Which ones have you seen? Because that's also.
They're all kind of mushing together in my mind right now. The only one I can point out is the Pesach Hotel one.
Okay, that's the most recent one we did.
That Mikey showed us.
That was one of the most recent one we did, and then we did because people like say their favorites. So there's that one. There's the one I just told you, the Esther Purim one. There's the guy at a non-kosher restaurant. There's like a Jewish guy going to a non-kosher restaurant for a business lunch, and like instead of being like modern Orthodox, like being like, hey, I'll just have salad, whatever. He just like is like super yeshivish or chassidish about it, and he like has a whole bag of like tam tams and like herring, and they're just like completely, and they're like trying to play it cool, but he's like checking salad for bugs, and doing whatever. It's fine. It just whatever. It's a whole thing. There's that one. There's Shavuot Shirim titles. That's like clickbait.
I did see that one.
And then
that's a very good bit, by the way.
Yeah. So that's something we did that. We did. So one of the bigger ones we did was with Elon Gold. We did the job interview of a guy starting a job, and it's like, so you'll start after Labor Day. I got a couple holidays, and it's like, okay, so like, what do you have, like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Okay, that's cool, and like, and then you're fine. Then you'll I got this thing called Sukkot, and then like the whole thing. So the awkwardness of
taking a whole month off from work.
Yeah, but the whole thing of just like, so the job review, which people like really love because they also just like, oh my God, this is my life, of like awkwardly having to tell your boss that you're missing September and October.
Just making up holidays at this point, like Shmi.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, the good thing is that Mikey in that one plays as a Jew type, the guy who's just like not super affiliated, and it's like, yeah, it's like Rosh Hashanah is like 2 days, and then he's like, it's 1 day. Not like it's 2 days, and I'm like the Orthodox guy. So that one was really fun. And then we did this, not a sequel to that, but we did one like for like holiday parties where like the Christmas party of the boss being like, hey, Merry Christmas, except to you guys. And like the 3 Jews, and like me and Mikey are like the whatever, like modern Orthodox guys, and like Ami's like super yeshivish, like being like correcting the boss about like inaccuracies, and like, is it Chav Yisrael? Is it Pas Yisrael? Like all the things. Whatever. There's a bunch of them that we did. There's tons. We did one by the Israel parade. We did an anti-Israel parade pre-October.
I saw that one too, I think.
And then we did anti-Israel Shavuot Shirim titles. That was a recent one. And the one that people really like, there are 2 people really like more than probably the most, is the Erev Shabbos one of getting ready on a Friday.
That one I've seen.
Yeah, filmed in my house that my wife's still upset about that was in our house, which is very accurate to the sketch of like just being like, it's like, this is supposed to be messy. It's
a little too close to home.
Literally, yeah, very much so.
It gives some motivation to clean the house up.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the main goal? Like, why do you start JSketch?
As I said, we just like, we're like, it's fun to do stuff out there. I also think this wasn't our point, but there is a need there. There is like what the nice thing about it, what it does, it really resonates with an audience that doesn't feel seen
and underserved.
It's like Jewish Key and Peele.
Yeah, that's really what we're going for. Like, of just trying to talk about these topics. Again, what I think when it comes to the Jewish, we're trying to get more Jewish unity going on. It's really, I think there's a lot of, in Hollywood now, there's a lot of lack of representation of the Orthodox perspective, or like, in the New York Times just said something about like, Jews are wrong about this thing, and it's like so classic. Like, yeah, a bunch of like very left Jews who have never met somebody relatively Orthodox or pro or whatever. They're just like in their own echo chamber thinking that's how everybody thinks. So it's about time that we have a whole thing devoted to from material that like, this is what your observant Jews go through non-observant people also do a little bit of the holiday stuff, but like going through the trend, the kishkas of what it's like to be an Orthodox Jew in the world.
It almost doesn't. It probably doesn't exist.
Doesn't
at
exist.
All.
It doesn't exist.
In Israel, they have like bardak. You know that?
I've heard of it. They used to have the thing called underdose, and also underdose, which was really good also. But it's the Hebrew I can't keep up. I didn't need like subtitles here. I don't. My Hebrew skills were not as good.
I think they're like all about like protests and stuff. I don't know.
Right. So that's about Israel. That's about
like more Haredi culture. And
yeah, and that's also specifically to Israel. Like, yeah, okay, this stuff is American, Jewish, whatever. But like the other one we had after our Shabbos one was after the war. Mikey was out of town for this one, so we did me and Ami as sending stuff to Israel.
I saw that one.
That one. Yeah. That one's probably people's one of their favorite. People like, I still want to make hats that say like "send it" on it, because like "send it" became like a thing, and it was just
That's the Nelk Boys.
What?
That's where that's from.
Send it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's popular now, unless you're saying it was popular before.
Wait.
Half sends.
No.
What?
The Nelk Boys, their catchphrase was "full send it."
Full send.
Full send. It's
No,
like if you're gonna do something,
no half sends. Full
do it
sends.
fully.
So
but
send it.
I'm saying send it.
So send is like send it.
Oh.
So like full send it.
So people think we're ripping him off?
I would just think that's how a lot of people are interpreting it, not as ripping
Oh, cool.
it off.
But like, I still think like having a hat that says "send it" on it would be great. But
Yeah, they
people,
sell a ton of them.
people really like that one, and also that was also like right after the war started, so people were really like raw and like people were like, oh, I didn't laugh in like 6 weeks. Like this was really
And the brand
needed.
of humor is so positive too.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of pro-Israel content that's usually
just ripping on.
it's hating someone, and it's that like it's the revenge comedy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of proud. I think, and this is with my stand-up also, is that my stand-up, which we'll do a part 2 another time. But like in terms of the pride of Judaism, I think there's, in terms of there's a lot of Jewish guilt of like, ugh, I'm Jewish and I'm so, I hate it. And I think there is a very big pride of that doesn't get discussed enough of Jewish pride. And I think a lot of, why. In terms of if you asked, hey, are there Jewish comedians who are in the zeitgeist still or are still like up there? It's like, yeah, but are they talking about Judaism? Not necessarily, because there is this like shame, and there is like their version of Judaism is very watered down. Their watered down Judaism is their version of Judaism is like Manischewitz and like matzah.
And why be proud of the
juice.
bagels and lox?
That's all it is to them. And I'm like, oh, does that give you a right to weigh in about Israel because you have one Seder and you fast on Yom Kippur? Shkoyach. Are you actively living as a Jew every day and proud of that? And okay, and then you can say maybe
that doesn't have to do with their religious practice, no?
I'm saying, but like, religious practice. I'm not talking about religious practice, but I'm just saying, like, is your Judaism a part of your life, or is it just convenient when it comes to weighing about Israel? I mean, like, in terms of mention, like, talking about like, I don't know where we're gonna do this.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, but I'm saying, like, you asked about like the representation of it as a Jew people, the people who are like, why do you get to be the representative? There's a book that I read in high school called The Sunflower, and Simon Wiesenthal is in the Holocaust, and he's brought to a hospital. He's working in a hospital, whatever he's supposed to do, and they got brought to a Nazi's bedside who's about to die, and the Nazi asks him for forgiveness for like all I don't know. I think he burned a shul down with people in it and some horrible thing, and like, can you forgive someone for that?
Why do you need to?
No, the guy was like on his deathbed, and he's like, I want to clear his soul. But my point is anyway, like, there's the thing of
and
like,
who says I could forgive him for that? Like,
exactly. Meaning, so my point is
not
correct. It's not you. You get to be the Jewish representative. Like again, that's also the thing. Like, I don't. The reason Judaism is separate from Christianity or other religions is that Judaism says that anybody could be a conduit to Hashem. You don't, and conduit to, and everybody can be a representation of Judaism, but you're not like, hey, this is like anybody who says they're the representative of Judaism is a false is again, like other than Moshe, you know what I mean? Like if that's the first telltale sign. If somebody says I represent Judaism, no. I don't buy it. Like I can say from a comedic standpoint, yeah, we have done something that people, because frum culture hasn't really been represented in that way. Fine, but I'm not like I am the ambassador of Judaism. That's first of all, what would you want that? But like, so you can't. Yeah,
I want it.
You want to be the ambassador of Judaism?
No, I want you to be.
Yeah, you want to be the prime minister too, which are sometimes very different things than the ambassador of Judaism.
And we need to make that person one thing.
Make that person one thing. What
chief rabbi and prime minister?
Terrible idea. they tried that. It's called the Chashmonaim.
Oh,
that's what happened post Hanukkah.
Well, they did well. No,
we did television. We're doing television history. We're doing Jewish history now.
Mm-hmm.
They did not do well.
That was Josephus, right?
Josephus is the Romans.
Never
much later. Josephus was Jewish. Josephus, by the way, says about your Jewish unity thing. And he has a line where he says, during the Roman siege, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Roman siege, it was he basically says something like the Jews were so busy fighting each other they couldn't fight the Romans. And that line is
scary.
Yeah. And that line is like, oh, nothing's changed. Great. But in terms of post Hanukkah, the Chashbanaim, they were a bunch of Kohanim, and then they're like, are also going to be the king. And that's not, there's a reason there's a separation of church and state almost in a way, where your king is from Yehuda and the Kohen is a Kohen. Because if the king is like, nope, I'm going to change the laws of the Torah or whatever. I mean, the second Beis HaMikdash was also just a mess. Apparently there was like 300 something Kohanim during the second Beis HaMikdash in the 420 years. You know why? Because they all died in Yom Kippur. Because there was just a bunch of people buying the Kohanim.
We're actually both Kohanim.
Nice. I'm a Levi. It'll be an honor to wash your hands one day.
Suck.
To be a Levi?
Do you think like there's a divide in the community of like all the different types of Jews? There's not so many Jews, but like it's still 2025. Like, I mean, it is 2025. The year is like when everybody's accepting
you
of
forgot
everything.
what year you were born, so.
Yeah, I know, right? I still think it's like 2020. Like, it's crazy that like
dude, I think
COVID was 5 years ago.
I
Anyways,
still think it's 2005. But yeah, carry on.
anyways, but I feel like we need more like acceptance and unity inside the Jewish community if we want to actually like grow as a people. Because I feel like we're so divided and like there's so many like subcategories of Jews. And do you think we're going to see more unity, like from different religious levels of Jews, or the religious part?
That was a beautiful Dvar Torah for the 9 days.
Is gonna get in the way, because people are so anti-Semitic. Like, we need to agree on something.
I think right after October 7th, there was a really good sense of it.
It's not happening though.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I also thought I'm saying, I think on October 7th, if you really remember the beginning, there was really, really strong unity among everybody, all walks of life, especially in Israel. You had like Haredi areas, like saying thank you in like lights to like Israeli soldiers, like in the Air Force, and like giving, like a guy would a secular guy koshered his restaurant because in case he didn't want to have a soldier who was religious who couldn't eat there. And there was a lot of unity going on then, and it was a lot of everybody just helping out. I kind of, the schmaltzy, cheesy thing I was saying was that almost like Hashem needed, in order for bring Mashiach, Hashem needed everyone to do a bunch of mitzvahs together. And like so many people were helping out each other and helping out people in Israel, almost doing mitzvahs constantly. And like I said, that's what we need for Mashiach to come. Again, this is something we've been struggling with. It's 3 weeks, 9 days. The basic, like, it's funny because it always really rears its head around this time. Extra like division, almost like as a, hey, like I have a line where I say like, I wonder if like people say like, I really hate the 9 days, but I hate Haredim more, and you're like, God's like so close, but like, we're not. It's almost like I think God almost makes, I don't know, people hate us so that we realize that, like, stop getting over yourself. Stop, like, you're much more similar. Okay, so you're Reformed, so you're Hasidish. Okay. Like, if people hate I think God makes it every 80 years. I have a tweet, whatever, X post, whatever you would call it these days. People say X.
I don't even use it, but I say a tweet on X.
Okay, fine. That's probably incorrect in both. It's like
it definitely is, but that makes sense to me.
I think I was once time said on stage Shavuot or Shavuot, and something like that. I messed up, but whatever. So it's no. So I said that no, this is a legitimate reason to hate Jews, the world, every 75 years, because like it's always a new excuse. It's always a thing. God makes it just every 75 to 80 years, something will happen that makes people turn, and I don't know if it's festering. It's like almost. I think it's like a law of nature. It's a really weird thing because we don't understand. It doesn't make sense. The Jewish survival doesn't make sense almost as much as Jewish hate doesn't make sense. Because how do you hate us for being communists and capitalists? How do you hate us for being assimilated but also separate? Like there's just this thing that doesn't make sense because the Jewish person is a complete contradiction of the world. The fact that you survived despite getting kicked out of every country you were ever in, despite not having having every reason to give up, being told you couldn't do jobs, you couldn't do whatever, not being excluded, being hated, being killed, being tortured, being all these things, being only 15 million people. Like, there's almost like supposed to be only 15 to 16 million people on the planet of Jews, because that's like, you're just supposed to be this small aspect of the world of the world, and you're supposed to expand and bring light to everyone. Tikkun Olam really gets bastardized as a term because it's just like a Zoran Mamdani talking point of like, Tikkun Olam, Zoran Mamdani. I'm like, no. Tikkun Olam is like a Hasidic idea of like, you're supposed to fix what Adam Harishon did, and like, you are representing the world. You are wearing a yarmulke, you're wearing a kippah, you're circumcised. Not to be vulgar, but like, you're wearing the uniform. You are representing the Jewish people. You are a representation of God, and that's what you're supposed to do. So you do your best, and you better behave, because everybody's going to know you're Jewish and going to call you out for it more than any other part of your identity. One guy has a whole ring of trafficking in islands, and his name is Epstein, and you're like, might as well be named Goldberg, like, and it's like, nobody notices how many, like 18% of Orthodox Jews are the ones giving kidneys to people. Nobody notices how much Israel does when it comes to earthquakes and things like that. Everybody, you are under a scrutiny, you are under a magnifying glass, and everybody's just looking at you. And yeah, Jews need to realize you have a lot more in common, but it is hard when everybody justifies, doing certain things in the name of religion. So you have very, very far right settlers who are like, killing Bedouins and setting things on fire and doing things that are not what I would call Torah, what the Torah wants or what Judaism wants. And then you have people, and then there are people who are like, everybody's like bowing to Trump. And I said, I don't believe in that. I said, God is in charge. Doesn't matter. Don't forget, whoever is in office, whether it's Trump, Biden, Ahasuerus, said God runs the world. Mm-hmm. So don't be like, hey, this is going to be, the whims of everybody changing. And like, let's make sure that, but I'm saying, so, and on the left, people are just like, I don't think like condemning Israel more than you can be critical of Israel. That's the worst. If people say you can't condemn Israel or you can't criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. I was like, there was like 8 months of protests before October 7th, specifically criticizing the government. You're just not your way. The way you're doing it, where you're not even talking about people in Syria and the Druze getting killed because they're not Jewish and they're not Palestinian, and you're not informed. So like, I don't know, but I don't know why we're gonna have this the same way that Jews are not. This is the ultimate lesson. We just have to have this unity, and I don't know if we're quote unquote ever gonna have it. But and I also think from a practical standpoint, you can't have Mashiach come and everyone be at the Pesach Seder at the Beis HaMikdash together, and everyone be like, that guy sucks, he's a Zionist, that guy sucks, he's conservative, that guy sucks, he's whatever. Like, it's gonna be the worst Seder ever.
You were saying that we need a new driver.
Yeah, I don't have
I think we have the new Jewish leader of the people right here.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna clip that actually, and then we're gonna the Tikkun Olam part, all these different parts, and we're just gonna, get it out there in the world.
It's gonna be a montage. We're gonna do like a movie edit.
Send it to the world.
I'm your new
guys,
BB.
It starts with Seinfeld.
Put like a Drake song behind it.
Honestly, like if Zoran Mamdani could become mayor of New York City, you could become prime minister of Israel. No, we're gonna start a campaign.
I want to find that. Explain.
I mean,
he doesn't dress like a dad on Chol Moed, but yeah.
You
don't know that.
Does he keep Chol Moed?
He's not Jewish.
BB's not Jewish?
We're talking about Zoran, buddy.
Yeah. But I'm saying like
BB does not keep Chol Moed also, by the way. It's like a big deal whenever he wears a yarmulke. Everyone's like, ooh, what? Wow.
But I think we're going to start running the campaign for you to be the new prime minister.
I will reject that very hard.
Oh, man.